Try something for me. Think back to the last time you sat down to read something that actually mattered. A report, an article, a chapter of a book you were genuinely interested in. Now be honest. How far did you get before your mind drifted somewhere else? Not because the material was boring, just because it did. Some part of you slipped out the side door, and by the time you noticed, you'd read an entire paragraph without absorbing a single word of it. This isn't a memory problem. It isn't a discipline problem either, no matter how much it might feel that way. It's a debt problem. I'm Pauline Blaise Ngueth, creator of The Digital Rat, a systematic body of work on sovereign human performance in the attention economy. This is UNCAPTURED, Episode 2, Cognitive Debt, when your mind can't finish a thought. Today, we're talking about the specific place where attention debt lands first and hardest. In a previous conversation, we mapped how attention debt accumulates through transaction costs, fragmentation, and long-term depletion. This is about where all of that lands. Your ability to think one single thought all the way through, from beginning to end, without losing the thread. Here's the definition. Cognitive debt is the growing gap between the mental processing capacity a task actually requires and the capacity you have left to give it. After years of that capacity being borrowed against in tiny, constant increments you never consciously agreed to. Every notification draws down a shared resource. Every quick check, every context switch. These all tap the same well, your working memory, your attentional control. Individually, each one is invisible. You'd never notice a single withdrawal. But compounded across thousands of repetitions day after day, they leave behind a mind that technically still works. You can still function, still get through your to-do list, but can no longer sustain the kind of depth it once could, almost without trying. Let's talk about how this actually shows up, because it shows up in 3 specific, recognizable ways. The first is working memory erosion. There was a time when you could hold several ideas in your head simultaneously. A plan, its counter-argument, and a next step. All live at once, all accessible. Now, even 2 threads competing for space feels crowded, feels like too much. This isn't aging. This isn't some natural decline you're supposed to accept. Working memory is a finite resource, and constant task switching taxes it directly, every single time you switch. The more you switch, the less capacity you have left for holding complexity. I think about this in terms of a simple analogy. Working memory is like a small desk, not a warehouse. You can only fit so much on it at once. Constant switching is like someone walking by every few minutes and knocking half your papers onto the floor. You pick them back up, but you're spending real time and energy just restoring what was already there, instead of adding anything new. Do that enough times in a day, and the desk never actually gets used for what it was meant for. It just gets reset, over and over. The second is shallow processing. You read the article, you watch the video, you sit through the entire presentation, and afterward, nothing sticks. Not because you weren't paying attention in some general sense, but because real understanding, real depth of comprehension, requires sustained and uninterrupted engagement with the material. When your attention arrives already pre-fragmented, before you've even started the task, your brain defaults to skimming. Not because you chose to skim, because skimming is what fragmented attention is built to do. It's the only mode available to you at that level of division. The third is accelerated decision fatigue. Remember when mental exhaustion used to show up in the late afternoon, after a full day of real work? For a lot of people now, it shows up by mid-morning. Here's why. Every micro-decision: should I check the phone right now? Which tab do I open next? What do I respond to first? Every single one of those tiny choices draws on the exact same limited decision-making capacity as the big, important choices in your day. The well isn't infinite, and when it's being tapped constantly for small, meaningless things, it runs dry a lot faster when you actually need it for something that matters. I want to be specific about why this matters so much. The big decisions in your life, how to handle a difficult conversation, whether to take a risk, how to respond to something that actually requires judgment. Those decisions deserve your full decision-making capacity. But if that capacity has already been spent, in small increments, on 100 meaningless micro-choices before lunch, there's simply less of it left when the moment that actually counts arrives. This is part of why so many important decisions get made poorly or get avoided entirely late in the day, not because the decision got harder, but because the resource needed to make it well was already gone. So why is this happening? Why now? Why at this scale? This isn't an accident of modern life. It's an engineered outcome, and it's worth being precise about that. Every interruption that costs you a piece of cognitive capital generates something valuable on someone else's dashboard, a measurable engagement event. The platforms competing for your attention are not incentivized to protect your working memory. They are incentivized to interrupt it, repeatedly, because interruption is the exact mechanism that keeps you coming back. A calm, focused mind that finishes what it started is not a profitable mind, from the perspective of an attention economy built on engagement metrics. Your mind is not broken. I want to be really clear about that. It is responding exactly as it was designed to respond by an environment engineered to fragment it, just not for your benefit. So what do we do with this? This is where I want to bring it back to something bigger than just cognitive debt on its own. The failures of focus that show up as, I can't finish a thought anymore. The sense that your own mind has gotten slippery, unreliable, harder to direct. These are not a personal deficiency. They are the predictable output of an environment engineered to fragment attention faster than any single mind, no matter how disciplined, can defend against on its own. Naming the debt is the first step. That's what we just did. The second step is auditing where specifically it's draining you. Is it your working memory that's taken the hardest hit? Is it depth of processing? Is it your decision-making reserve running out too early in the day? Different people carry this debt differently, and the specific shape of your cognitive debt determines what actually needs to change. What you do next, that's a design problem with design solutions. It's not a willpower problem waiting for a willpower solution, because willpower was never really the resource being depleted here. Attention was. I'm Paulin Blazing-Weth. This has been Uncaptured. Conversations for minds that refuse to be owned. New episodes coming soon.